This is Bleav in Buckeyes. I'm Bryant and All-American quarterback Chindy Chekwa. This show is brought to you guys by FanDuel. And it was a slow week, man. You can really feel that all season. Slow week for news around Ohio State football, but we still got some topics to bring to you because our head coach was gracious enough to start his off-season program on 97.1 The Fan. We're going to dive into the article. But first off, Chill, how you doing? What's going on? You still dodging the snow? What's happening, man? How you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I feel good. You know, the winter has gotten a little fierce in Columbus, Ohio, which honestly I appreciate, man. You know, you gotta make the most of things, right? You know, we had some snow, and not just us. Obviously, the whole country almost had some snow. I got a sister in Texas that dealt with some snow, but you know, you appreciate it because one day the snow's gonna clear, all right, and it's gonna be warm outside, and you know you're appreciative of those moments. So yeah, I'm taking it all in, man. Every once in a while, I go out in the cold, negative degree temperature, with no shirt on, and some shorts.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Just to feel it, you know, just to
right. Just go get the mail. Just hit the mailbox one time, man. I hear you. I heard the iguanas in Florida are freezing, but like once they defrost, they still alive. I heard it's crazy, man. I just heard this on the radio, man. So it's getting wild out there. But man, let's get into some Ohio State football. Like I said, our guy Ryan Day, he hopped on 97.1 The Fan to start off his his off-season show. I didn't even know he had his off-season show for breaking down guys. And essentially, he gave us a lot of information. It's like they're like, oh yeah, he broke it down position by position. He almost broke it down player by player, which is fantastic for us. And his early thoughts on what his guys need to improve on, almost where they sit at on the roster, and you know who are the real contenders here for this 2016. And I guess, as always, let's start with the quarterback and then the words he said about Julian Sayin, saying that basically he's going to really take a deep dive into this offseason. He expected it to be huge for him and get really ready to take those next steps of becoming, I'm ad-libbing a little bit, but taking those next steps of being a great Ohio State quarterback. Taven St. Clair in that number 2 spot. Huge steps for him to kind of get ready to be that backup role. What do you think about those comments about our quarterbacks and what it say? What's on the table for our quarterbacks here?
I think
for Ohio State.
I think it's interesting, one, because the last 2 years has been kind of this I wouldn't call it a fake competition, but really the last few years it's been some level of competition, right? They brought Will Howard in, and the talk all off season is that he didn't just inherit the job. There's going to be a competition. We knew Will Howard was going to be the starting quarterback, but it's still, you know, there's still some type of competition. And last year, you know, we had some we would have predicted that Julian Sayin would win, but there was a real competition between him and I'm actually forgetting my man my man's name right quick. But the new Louisville quarterback, right? There was some competition there. This is the first year in a little
Lincoln
bit where
Lincoln
Klinghouse, right? So this is the first year in a while where, you know, it's Julian Sayin is the guy. Obviously, he's going to be the guy, but we're not even talking competition at this point. But I thought that what was most interesting that what he said is that this is going to be a big offseason for Julian Sayin. He should make a lot of progress. He should, you know, there should be a lot of development this offseason, which one means there's a lot of room for growth, right? Yeah. Which is an obvious thing, right? After coming off your first year starting, but you also got to go back a little bit during the season and just look at how the season kind of went. Julian Sayin had a great first year, but still you could tell that the offense wasn't fully opened up. I think they tried to in the Miami game, but it didn't work. Right? So like
couldn't protect it. Yeah.
couldn't protect it. You know, there was some opportunities that were like split second decisions really quick, et cetera, that he, you know, hesitation a little bit, and you saw the result of that. But I think that kind of goes to show now in hindsight, we understand that there was a little bit of kind of controlling his development throughout the entire season. They never truly opened up the offense fully. They never truly, I know he had that one quote during the season where he's like, we can turn on the gas. Like whenever it's time, we're going to turn the gas up. I don't think they necessarily fully were able to do that. And I think this offseason, they will be equipped to do that next year. Whether they do it or not is a different story. But based on his progression, they will be equipped to do that. The other thing he talked about was the number 2 quarterback, Taven St. Clair, him being able to develop into that number 2 spot. So a lot of development from the quarterback position. They brought a third quarterback in also from Maryland who is going to come in there and try to compete, right? But from his perspective, he wants to develop as an Ohio State quarterback, and then who knows if he's going to be here post this year or not, for real. So
yeah, right. I mean, he got to be kind of licking his chops at that number 2 spot, right? If you got a young guy who come to find out doesn't take things very serious, or he's not improving, then it's up in the air, right? And then obviously, then once you come that number 2 spot, you're one play away from getting out there and actually have to do it. So obviously, I think St. Clair showed a lot, what we seen last year. Especially, I went to the spring game and watched them play. I watched him run. Like, the guy it's definitely a talent there at St. Clair. But obviously, as a young quarterback, you have to show that you're serious, right? You're learning and you're improving day by day, as to kind of lead up to be that guy here to play for Ohio State.
Yeah. One of the things I want to see from our quarterbacks, and it's been interesting watching Ryan Day develop quarterbacks, because if you watch C.J. Stroud, even Justin Fields, they never really run the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, scramble isn't a big part of their arsenal, their toolbox, right? When they're sitting in the pocket, they're moving to throw the ball down the field, and if nothing's there, they get rid of the ball. And Julian Sayin, I thought, had some opportunities in those last 2 games to step up and make plays. And I gotta assume, because we put a lot of stuff on the quarterbacks, I gotta assume it's coming from the coach, and that's the reason why they don't actually scramble, because I've seen the history already. And I know it's kind of going a little bit out there, but I remember Coach Tressel when he would talk to the quarterbacks. I was never in a quarterback meeting. I wasn't in the offensive meetings. And still, I would hear Tressel tell Terrell, Todd Beckman, even Troy Smith, if there's an opportunity to step up and take 5 or 6 yards in the run, step up. I remember hearing Tressel say, step up. I don't even know what meetings we were in when he said it. You know what I'm saying? As a quarterback, if I heard it, I know that's something that was discussed, and I don't feel like that's something that they talk about. And I think there's some opportunity to add that to his game. Not being like a super dynamic runner and running for 50 or 60 yards, but every quarterback to me that was successful in the playoffs, they all took what the defense gave them when it came to running. Mendoza,
Beck had some runs of yourself, right? Yep.
Chan, everybody. They all took, if there was an opportunity to go run for 5 or 6 yards, they took it. It didn't matter how athletic the guy was. Like, they're gonna go take these yards. So I'm interested. That's something that is part of the progression and development going through this offseason as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. Running backs, not too much to talk about on running backs. Bo Jackson, obviously we had our scare with Bo when it came to the portal, and was he going to get in or not? Obviously he was able to reach terms for him. Isaiah West, they both have nicked up a little bit from the season. Both had to get some procedures on their shoulders, so they most likely will be out for the spring. But that kind of leaves some opportunity for our transfer from Florida and Jacoby Jackson. Data states he's a guy with a lot of talent. You can see his build, that he definitely has the build to play some Big Ten ball. Then he also throws out Legend Bay, who calls him a poor man's Tyreek Hill, maybe to piss him off a little bit. But he calls him a poor man's Tyreek Hill as a lightning in a bottle. But we know what type of speed he has on track. We've seen his highlights in high school, so they must be thinking that probably throw him in that backfield a little bit. He seems like a guy where you just really want to get the ball in his hands and just see how it goes from there. And what better way is to kind of get in the backfield to kind of just learn things as you start to kind of pick up the offense on, hey, here, we'll hand it to you. We'll toss it to you. The ball's in your hand. Let's see what you can kind of bring to the field when you're looking at our running backs. Anything there?
Yeah, I think Legend Bay and how much he talked about him is interesting, because he almost feels a little bit like a kind of a gadget type player, a dynamic player, a guy you can use a little bit how Miami used Malachi Toney in their offense, getting reverses, getting tosses, jet sweeps, some of those different types of actions. And we haven't seen really a lot of that. I think, kind of use Jeremiah Smith in that way, trying to get him the ball in different ways. But we haven't seen it from a true versatile type gadget guy in Ryan Day's offense in the last couple of years. So it's going to be interesting to see how they utilize him. I think from a running back standpoint, two guys who were freshmen last year who are good players. Bo Jackson, who obviously has a bright future. Isaiah West, who it felt like every time he ran the ball, he made a play. You know what I'm saying? So I know that both will have surgeries. I think both surgeries will be relatively minor, and they'll be ready for the season. I think the biggest concern at the running back position in general for me is protection, being able to protect the quarterback. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna kill Bo Jackson in his freshman year, really first year coming out of high school, on his protection, right? But we did see in the playoffs when you got a 6-year, 7th-year, 8th-year running linebacker running at you on a blitz. It ain't as easy to protect the quarterback. But you do want to see those young guys develop in that in year 2, and that's going to be key because it's not just about running the ball, right? If that running back comes in and he can't protect the quarterback, I don't know how much you can play him, right? Because now you got to take him out on passing downs, and that gives the defense a tell that okay, now they're actually throwing the ball. So that's going to be a big thing. And these are two guys who are going to be coming off of. I think both of them have shoulder surgery.
Yeah, that would stay safe. Yeah, shoulder
Right.
surgery.
So that would be my only concern. I don't know too much about the the running back from Florida.
Yeah.
How he holds up in protection. But I remember, one reason why 12 played a lot last year at running back. There was a lot of complaints about why are we taking Bo Jackson off the field, etc. But there was one guy who could really protect. So the guy who protects is going to get more carries and he's going to get more opportunities to play. So that's my one thing about the running back position. I think they're going to be great, great in the run game, actually.
Yeah, right. And then you just gotta look at Travion Henderson and what he brought to the passer pro his last year at Ohio State. It was a special. So Coach likely put that tape on, let our young guys kind of see how that's get done. And if they could bring something even close to that effort, it'll be a success. Wide receivers. Obviously, there's a lot of wide receivers. Like I say, they said they was gonna do this by position. He kind of went player for player, but obviously Jeremiah Smith is Jeremiah Smith. He's upset. He won Big Ten Wide Receiver of the Year, but when it came to the national award, what's the national award? That's the
Biletnikoff.
The Biletnikoff. He lost to a Big Ten wide receiver. It makes no sense, but they got my man angry, so he said week by week he's going out there and he lighting guys up, and I Bleav him for that. Brandon Ennis, obviously he was a captain, played basically every game this past year. But it's time for him to kind of take that step forward as he kind of tries to move into that maybe number 2 receiver here in our offense. After that, it's just a spiel of guys. We got transfers and Devin McCollum. We got transfers from LSU and Kyle Parker. We got young guys and Phillip Bill. Adolph is back for another year. We got Chris Henry coming in. We got Guilford coming in. There's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys on this wide receiver that I don't know, to be honest. All these guys are going to probably be expecting some balls next year. How do we do it? How do we get through it?
Yeah, there's a lot of guys. I still feel like the receiver room isn't as good next year as it was this year. I feel like it's not as good next year as it was this year. Now, it depends on how much, these transfers have, produced at the schools that they were at, right? So it really depends on, what they bring to the table. But I don't look at, this is my little bit of my problem with the transfer portal. I don't look at guys who have produced and played well at their respective schools coming in as better than the guys that hadn't played at Ohio State yet and end up leaving. Because we all know that we say we don't rebuild, we reload, right? So a guy who hadn't played yet, that was a sophomore but a 5-star who's been preparing and developing, I expect that guy to really be as good as a guy who's left and gone to the league, and then we have another guy who's going to take over. So losing Marlon Graham and losing Quincy Porter, to me, were real losses, right? Yeah. Now, Devin McEwen's coming in. He played really well where he was at. So I'm interested to see how he kind of performs. Kyle Parker, he has his same position coach here at Ohio State now. Interested to see how he performs. And we got the young guys coming in as well. Brandon Ennis is a guy that, to me, this is his opportunity to step up to the next level. You lose Carnell Tate, got a guy that they trust in Brandon Ennis. What is his ceiling, right? Because he's a sure-handed guy, but he doesn't quite feel like a Carnell Tate level receiver. So I'm interested to see, how his development continues, and then what those guys that come in the transfer portal deliver as well. And it feels like Ryan Day is likely going to move to a little bit more of explosive offense. You got a quarterback who is in his second year starting. He's probably going to be a little bit more trusting in Julian Sayin and what he could bring to the table. So we're going to need those guys. We're going to need those receivers. I'm excited about the incoming, the true freshman. No, I'm excited about Chris Henry. I'm excited about the other guy. I think his last name is Guilford.
Yeah, Guilford. Yeah,
and he looks good to me.
Yeah,
he looks good. I don't know exactly how to say his name. I apologize.
yeah, you know me. I was about to go for it, but like I'm a butcher it, man. But it's like Jerquadian or something like that. Guilford.
But he looks. I watched him play, man. He looks really good. So I don't think. I think the room is strong.
Yeah,
I do think the room is strong. So,
but I think my argument here it might be too strong, man. Like you know, I think by the middle of it, we might start having some guys a little disgruntled, maybe thinking they was going to get X, Y, Z, and they're only going to get A, B, C, right? Because you know we know Jeremiah Smith is going to get the ball. We're going to throw the ball to Jeremiah Smith. He deserves it. We know he's hungry for a lot of things. He's going to get the ball, and this is his last season. We know this year's 3. This is it. So he's going to get the ball. And then after that, it's like, it's just so many guys. There's so many guys who's probably talented enough, who's probably going to be deserving. We have to figure it out. There's only so many times we can throw the ball because, you know, we need to be running the ball anyway when it comes to Bo Jackson and Zion West and giving those guys their shot. So,
yeah. I mean, they should play 5 receivers this year. They should play 5 receivers, not because of the receiver room, but because of the quarterback, right? Julian Sayin in year 2, after what he did last year, and having a whole offseason to continue to grow, you should get more activity in the pass game. It doesn't have to be in every game. It doesn't have to be versus Texas, right? It doesn't have to be versus Indiana. But, you know, you go play some of these other teams. You go play USC's defense. You go play some of these other teams. You should go out there and run the offense. Get the passing offense ready for the playoffs, because you have a quarterback who can deliver the ball across the field, which should give more guys opportunities, right? And that. If there's a criticism of this past year, is that, you know, we didn't use all of our receivers. We didn't utilize, hurry up offense. We didn't use some of the Ryan Day offense that we've seen in the past from a passing game standpoint. And I understand it if you said, Julian Sayin was a young quarterback and we had to bring him along. I understand it. At the time, I didn't understand it. But now after going through the season and looking in hindsight, I understand it. But next year, there should be the opportunity to use those guys. Even if it's just when we're already blowing out, Illinois or something like that. Get those guys involved. Get us some opportunities to make some plays, make them feel comfortable. Because obviously you want those guys coming back after next year and then continue on the tradition of having, high-level receivers going high in the draft. So, I kind of look forward to this group. And it's because they have a guy at the quarterback position that should be the guy. He should be the best guy in college football coming back this year in terms of efficiency and potential ceiling and capability. It's between him, Dante Moore, maybe a couple other guys, but still, right? He should be at least in the top 3 or 4.
Yeah, no. Don't forget about Arch Manning, man. He's coming back
Listen, man, I'm not buying Arch Manning. Arch Manning,
we got Texas and Texas, man. That might be. He played well. We've seen him step up at the end of the year. He played well.
He's a good college football quarterback, but still, I'm a little bit tempered on the Arch Manning hype until I see the full ceiling develop in front of me. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I got you. All right, now looking at these tight ends. So we got some guys back. We got some guys in the transfer portal. We got Bennett Christian, who played for us last year, caught some touchdowns. Stacy's a tremendous leader. Nate Roberts returning. We got some young guys coming in, and Brody Lennon, Max LeBlanc. And then we got the transfers, Hunting Welking, and then also a transfer. He's from Northwestern, and a transfer out of Ohio, and Mason Lewis, who's appears to be more of a toughness sort of guy. I don't know. Hunter got some experience in catching some balls downfield. We've seen Bennett makes a couple plays here and there. I don't know. Last year we got a little tight and heavy. Maybe this year we'll cut it back a little bit with the tight end, play out exactly how many guys are actually active on the field. But maybe not. Maybe we still go out there and play a little 2-3 tight ends and bring that to the field.
But Arthur Smith coming in, I think he used the tight ends, and I'm I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. Utilizing the tight ends. I think you can do both. I think you can have that sprinkle in of 3 wide receiver sets, maybe even some 4 wide receiver sets at times. I I don't recommend it. I think you keep a tight end on the field, but I do think there's an opportunity to maximize this offense in the 12 personnel, run game and pass game, give those receivers some space to, get some matchups and allow some of these tight ends to operate. Ohio State historically hasn't, I say historically, but at least the past few years, they've had a lot of tight ends, but they haven't truly utilized them to me in the pass game in the best way. I do think college football today with all these NFL defensive coordinators coming back to college and the way they're scheming against offenses, I think if you can find some balance between some good tight end sets, run game and pass game, to me that's the best approach moving forward. And I think they're trying to move in that direction somewhat. So it's going to be interesting how to use the tight end. I think the Northwestern pickup was a good one. And then we'll see. Guys like Brandon Christian, and others. We'll see what they deliver for Ohio State next year.
Yeah, that's for sure. Now we gotta get into my guys, man. The big uglies, man. We gotta get into this offensive line. It's funny this year in the offensive line. We didn't do a lot in the portal when it came to the offensive line. We lost some guys that maybe had some talent. Maybe it was a year, still another season or two away from actually being able to contribute here at Ohio State. I think we brought in one guy that seems more of a depth piece than anything. A guy out of I think he's out of Vermouth or something of the sort. But basically, we spent our money budgeted for the 26th season on keeping the guys we have here. All right, we obviously have essentially 5. You can say 5, but essentially 4 starters returning. Sheriff at left tackle, Luke Montgomery at left guard, center. I'm saying too many names now. I'm kind of Carson. Yeah. Right guard's up in the air, right? We got some competition there. Look like Gabe Van Sickle and Joshua Padilla will fight it out for that right guard spot. As then we got Phillip Daniels returning that right tackle. Our local guy, Jake Cook, also got a shout out and him being able to do multiple things. And we can't forget Ian Moore. Ian Moore stepped in huge for us in our playoff game, the one that, our last game of the season, but when Sherfield went down, stepped up and played really well at that left tackle position, especially coming in cold and not really playing a lot of, competitive reps all season, when the game was on the line. Just came in and stepped up well. Is this for me? What I think about my offensive line, I think I like it. But no, go ahead, Chuck. Give us a little something on the offensive line.
Listen,
and spend the money to keep it.
Yeah, I will consider putting in more full time at the starting tackle, one of the starting tackle positions.
Who you sitting, man? You gotta sit somebody, man. Oh.
You don't necessarily gotta sit somebody. You don't necessarily gotta sit somebody. Austin Ceraville could be the right guard. Phillip could be a right guard, right? I think Ian Moore can slide in there tackle position. That's an option. Yeah, I like the offensive line. I think the offensive, that's one group that gets so much criticism, right? You could be great for 10 games. Have one bad running game or one bad protection game, and everybody says, "Oh, we suck." And you watch the national championship, I thought Indiana's quarterback got hit even more than Julian Sayin did versus Miami, and they won the game. So, yeah. I mean, take that for whatever you want, but I think bringing Arthur Smith in, I think the type of offense that they're going to run, I think it fits the guys up front. I think they're gonna. I don't think. I think the zone scheme and some of the athleticism from some of those guys. I think they're gonna be able to do well. But I do think we got some rotational guys that benefits that full unit. And I'm curious about guys like Carter Lowe and others, man. Like in terms of how they're competing and where they fit in that mix. So I think the offensive line is a strong group, and it makes sense that they didn't, Ryan Day didn't feel the need to go search for, some additional help in the transfer portal.
No, it made a lot of sense to me. I think this is a very strong unit. I could maybe argue that with the experience and just the number of guys, that this is probably going to be one of the strengths of the team, our offensive line. Like I said, it yes, against Miami was our best game. No. Was Indiana our best game? No. But we got the same guys back. We're going to learn a lot when it comes to these certain things. Same thing with because coaching really didn't help us out a ton. I could argue when it came to like especially that Miami game and how we kind of went about attacking the Hurricanes there. So I think it's a good unit. Once again, it's still a lot of guys with a lot of experience that could do some really good things as an offensive line. So I'm really excited to see, like you said, them come along again, another year under their belt, and just keep melding, keep beating guys up, keep protecting our quarterback, and bring some of that toughness and tenacity to the game that we know they can. Looking forward to that unit to continue to grow. Man, we took the whole show on the offense, man. We're going to have to break down this defense next week. But it was all good stuff, though. But it's a couple of things, more things to shout out, man. We got to shout out, I don't know, who do you shout out here for making money, revenue, and the budget? Is that on the AD? That's our athletic director?
I think it ultimately falls on the AD. You know, everybody has a little bit of a hand in it, but I think it ultimately falls on the AD, for sure.
Yeah, man. But good job, man. We had a record year in revenue, bringing in over $330 million in revenue. We actually cleared a profit, which is good to see because I know last year we ended in a deficit. So good way to turn that around.
And this ain't the U.S. government. We can't just keep growing the deficit here. I know everybody's like, what's happening in the portal? Why are we not competing for all this money? Why are we following the rules? Mm-hmm. We got, I don't know how many varsity sports we have at Ohio State.
The
30,
most.
40,
we got the most in college. I know that for sure.
Right? There's a lot of stuff to fund here at Ohio State, man. We can't just spend frivolously. It just keeps spending money. So it was good to hear that some of the adjustments made led to a profit. It's also, I wouldn't say good to hear, but you get some indicators based on how many guys are on the roster versus how many they can actually have on the roster, right? Because every dollar spent, whether it's bringing in a former NFL head coach to be the offensive coordinator, or is bringing in that young 5-star player at a position, or keeping a 5-star player from last year in the building, it all leads to whether or not they are positive or if it's a deficit. So shout out to making some money.
Yeah, shout out to those Olympic sports, man, that we love to brag about once they win, man. Yeah.
Right.
Well, and also to our new special teams coordinator, Robbie, this year. Looked like we was able to poach him from the University of Illinois. He's, I guess, touted across the nation as being one of the top special team coordinators, so he's now a Buckeye. And we look forward to our new special teams, with our new kicker and a new coordinator, and some of the positive things that they could bring to the game to help us regain the Big Ten title, regain our national championship, and things of that nature, and what he could bring to the story there.
That's big time. Illinois lost their special teams coordinator. They've also lost their defensive coordinator who went to Notre Dame to be a co-defensive coordinator and DB coach. I don't know what's going on in Illinois. Maybe they're trying to balance the budget as well. Shout out to Aaron Henry, who's my guy, who's not a DB coach at Notre Dame. But yeah, I'm curious. But if there's anything else Illinois has coaching wise that is doing well, we should go ahead and grab them.
Obviously, Illinois is trying to build a program, man. So we need our mid guys to be competitive as well, man. So shout out to Illinois. But no, that's our show for today. Next week we'll break down this defense from Coach Day's word, from his off-season show. We're gearing up for spring ball. We got a date for that now, being April 18th. And we know it's gonna, it's coming. Everything's around the corner. So that's our show for today. Please follow us, ask us questions. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, anywhere you can listen to a podcast, we're there. Tune in to Bleav in Buckeyes as we continue to break down this offseason. Gear up for some spring ball in a couple of months when the snow starts to melt, and get ready for this 26th season. We end this show always with a nice OH.
Yo.
Go Bucks. Talk to you guys soon.
Go Bucks.